Good evening, everybody, and happy October 1st. Brigitte, are you happy that it's October?
I am. It's spooky season. Look, I've got my crystal ball behind me, swirling and whirling.
There you go. So good evening, everybody, and how you doing? We are here tonight. Want to let everybody know, we are going to be kicking this Halloween season off with a bang, and we are going to do a Halloween special every Wednesday night right up until Halloween. And with a special show on that last Wednesday night, we'll see what's happening, where that's going. We haven't put it together yet, but what a great way to start tonight off. Brigitte and I were talking. Let's talk about all the spooky, superstitions.
Right.
There's a bunch. And so we found like 35. I think we've kind of copied over, and we got some that are duplicated or whatnot. But some of y'all need to understand there's also superstitions around tarot. And I want to address some of those and everything so we can talk about it and what needs to happen. But you know what? First off, because we're doing this, tonight might be a good night. We make sure we go ahead and ask for some protection. What do you think?
Yeah, I hear you.
So, Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, Spirit, Great Spirit, the All, we say thank you first and foremost for all the gifts that you've given us. And then we want to demand that you send your angels, your spirit guides to surround us, to swarm us, and let your light, that brilliant white light of protection, just radiate up through our hearts and protect everybody in the room, everybody in the chat room, anybody that watches this. May everything be protected, and may nothing come through that is not of your higher good, of you and for their higher good. So mote it be. So, Brigitte, we got Deborah coming in, Cynthia's coming in, Sean G. There's a couple, and Gillian had asked people to start putting some of theirs in. And what we got going on. Bruce peeks in. Hey, Mr. Bruce, let's see what's happening here. Cynthia was the first one with don't walk under an open ladder.
Yeah.
So, you and I were talking about that just a little while ago with this one. And you want to tell Cynthia, if you want to pop it in, of why you understand that superstition is going to be, and then we'll tell you some of the stuff that we found on it. So, Brigitte, you want to lead off with that one?
Sure. So yeah, I mean, we always heard that it's bad luck to walk under a ladder, right? Whether it's a regular ladder that opens with the two legs, or you have it creaked up against your house, sort of slant ways. And I never really knew why. I never really understood why, right? Why, I always figured it was like you were just inviting somebody to drop a hammer on your head, or
exactly. That's where,
you're going to get hit with the paint can or something. But honestly, it's, that is born out of Christianity. I guess it's because the ladder forms a triangle, right? When you look at it. And if you, and the triangle in Christianity symbols the Holy Trinity. So Father, Son, Holy Ghost. And if you walk through that triangle, you're breaking the covenant of the Holy Trinity.
Exactly.
And I was like, wow, that's interesting. I just always thought it was so you didn't get beamed in the head with somebody's work tools. So
yeah, exactly. And that's where I came up with it, especially before my dad became a preacher. He was in a paint store and painting and everything else. You used to walk under a ladder because you didn't want to knock it over. But then I found out it was this. But that's, when we started doing the research, that was one of the first ones that came up about walking under a ladder. And whether you take the ladder, and I know it's not a true triangle, but like an extension ladder, comes off at a different angle from the wall, it's still considered that triangle, the base, the Trinity, the three. And this goes way, way back. And what was really amazing to me as I started looking at some of these, how many of these started out as good things but then turned into something bad. Okay. Particularly as Christianity rolled in and took some good things from pagan rituals, all right, or what was seen as positive things, and they kind of populated it like they did with Christmas with their own beliefs, and everything kind of got turned, so that's crazy. Sean G, we've got, if it's after midnight, walk in the house backwards. I have not heard, I think I heard about, yeah. If you want to pull that one up, that's cool. Sean, have you heard why that is? I think now that you say it, I've heard it. One of the things I know for me, I'm a klutz. Okay.
In the house.
Walking backwards, it's good for me to walk forwards, man. But yeah, after midnight, and again, we get back to some of this. What do different things mean? What does midnight mean? The start of a new day, things like that. So if you've got something and you find out, you believe you know what it is, pop it in the quest, in the text. We'd love to see it. Cynthia here, toss salt over your left shoulder if you spill it. That was, and here was one of the neat ones with that I found. I just thought it was bad luck. But in the origin of this, one of the things I found out is it was originally believed that the devil hides behind your left shoulder. And that by throwing the salt over the spilled salt over the left shoulder, and it says right here, and it puts that salt, because Satan doesn't like salt. A lot of things don't like salt that are from the other plane or a different dimension or whatever you want to call it, demonic or whatnot. They don't like the salt, and it helps repel them. Right. Okay. So
mine says throwing a pinch over the left shoulder was said to blind the devil waiting there.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we think about it, where did this come up? The devil waiting there, The devil.
I wonder if it had to do with so you've got an angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other. And I mean, historically, and they don't do it now, but when we were younger, if you were left-handed,
oh my God,
forced you to use your right hand. You were never allowed to be left-handed ever.
Correct.
It was a bad thing. So I wonder if the thought was the devil is on your left side and the angel sits on your right side. And so if you throw it over your left shoulder, then you're going to blind the devil, right? You're going to.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. So, we'll be there. And all of these things to me are great with Halloween. I love this stuff. And just to understand where some of them came from or going from or whatnot, these things are great, So, Mr. Bruce, don't sit in a wheelchair. I have not heard that one, but there are times it's like, don't invite that in. Unfortunately, I've been into too many wheelchairs, but I've always been able to get out of them. But yes, is that energy? You're invoking energy or invoking that thought. So
I have a little bit of the history of the walking backwards in the house, because that one intrigued me. This is the first time I've ever heard that. I've never heard that before, so I had to look that up.
Okay.
But, it is rooted in folk traditions designed to prevent spirits from following you inside or to ward off evil. This belief is often linked to the idea that spirits move in a backward or sneaky way and can enter through the back, making it necessary to enter your house backwards to block them.
And that would make sense, because it's also believed that spirits are more active in the witching hour at midnight and afterwards. So, Sean, that's good info, man. That's one of the things, we don't think about or whatnot. Brigitte and I, we've all done this. Like Gillian and I have black tourmaline at every doorway coming into our house to keep black, dark energy, or just, that the negative energy, it absorbs it, repels it, that type of thing. So we constantly think about that. One of the things I do remind people of all the time is, do not forget, if you're opening and closing your windows, that's another portal into your house. we should probably have more black tourmaline in our window frames here in the windowsill, because in Florida we just didn't, because in Florida
You have to open the windows.
you don't open your window, not it's just that simple. So that's one of those things.
Started doing was putting the tourmaline inside and black salt outside.
Yeah, that's the second time I've heard black salt,
Yep. Black salt outside the threshold and then the black tourmaline inside, so that you've got a double cross, sort of a double layer of protection.
Yeah. One of the things I found in talking about salt, and my wife found it, and we've used it. Now I'm out, I got to buy more, was vampire salt. Okay. And it's a seasoned salt, but I thought it was funny they call it black, but it's black as sin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those things, but it's got the garlic, everything in it that a vampire's not supposed to like.
Yeah, okay? That's not the black salt that I use.
Yeah, I know.
The salt I use is like ashes and sea salt. And
yeah. But this, I thought that was interesting, or finding out what's going on, So Cynthia, on this one, this is an interesting story about find a penny, pick it up. I grew up, and I don't know if it's a Southern thing, so Brigitte, maybe you can throw the other spin on it, that you only picked up a heads up penny.
Heads up penny. Yep.
That to pick a penny up that was not heads up was bad luck.
Yep.
One of the things my wife taught, oh my God, she can't get to a parking lot picking them up. And one of the things she taught me again, and this might vary where it comes out, where what you give your energy to is what you actually manifest or bring forth. And one of the things she taught me was never tell the universe there's a such thing as bad money, and that you should always pick it up and put it directly in your pocket or in your wallet. The other thing about that, if she gives somebody a wallet, a purse, if she gives me a new wallet,
always put $1, a quarter, or something.
Yeah, and even same those Chinese fortune,
when you get furniture, and you throw coins under the couch cushions.
Yeah.
For good luck. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Brandon, let's see what we've got here. Welcome. Sweeping a person's footsteps out of the front door to keep a person from never coming back is one I used to hear as a kid. You know what? And I've heard that one. That one is true. And
I've never heard that one.
My grandmother would do that. Okay. When she growing up, she had a paint store, Mary Carter paint store. And she was very religious. But again, she was from Georgia. We were deep South, whatnot. And she would do different things, and she would be like not answering me because I was young at that time. And then finally, like if somebody came out, she'd yell, my granddaddy's name was WM. WM, get me the William Martin. Give me the broom. And if he came in a certain door or out a certain door, she would sweep those things out. So and that's interesting. And that's where actually some candle magic, some spell work, things like that return to sender. I know one of the things I have done, and somebody taught me, was when I wanted somebody out of my life, I would write their name on a piece of paper. Okay. Fold that piece of paper up. Now, a lot of people will just burn it and off it goes, not wishing any ill will or any ill intentions. Okay. But I read, and I've tried it, and it seems to have worked in certain cases where you would go to an intersection, a busier intersection. Yeah, when you get in the middle of the crosswalk, throw it out and let the wind take it someplace. And then you
let that bus just smash right into that piece of paper.
Here you go. Sucks to be you. Yeah, no, I never put that intention into it. But you would actually say, while you're standing in the intersection, be gone from my presence, do not return. May you find your own fortune elsewhere, whatnot, and that type of thing. So
I just recently put someone in my freezer.
Did you?
I did.
All right. It's the season.
It is the season.
Were they in pieces?
Sort of.
Yeah.
So one of the rituals that I do when I'm looking to, uh, get rid of people, or you know, you sometimes you have that person who's just clear up your butt, right? And
Oh my
they're
God.
just nothing but a pain in your ass. Whatever the situation, whether you're at work or it's a neighbor or whatever, you just got that person, right?
Right.
So recently I found myself dealing with this person. No matter what, it was their life's work to make my existence miserable in the area that we coexisted in. So uh, I was at my wit's end, like to the point of frustrated tears at one point. So I'm like, you know what? That's it. You're getting a mirror reversal spell, and I'm putting you in my freezer. So you write their name on a piece of paper, and you
Right.
fill up a vessel with water, like a Tupperware. You
Right.
put them in the water, and you can, and it depends on how you want it. I mean, you could add things to the water. I may or may not have added habanero pepper to my stuff. I may or may not have, done anything like that. But but you put them in the Tupperware, and you put them in the freezer, and you just freeze them. And don't you know, son of a building block, Rob, that broad, I don't hear from her.
And that's perfect.
Every single day, and I don't hear from her.
Right. And that's where I think some of these superstitions, curses, things like this, they do come about because if you put your energy into it, and that's the reason I'm telling people, even on reversals or whatnot, when I went through that mess a while back, I would tell people, please don't send a return to sender is one thing, but don't compound it. I don't want that. Just get them out of my life. And I think that's very important. Gillian's got one here. Leanne G. Lee, that's my wife, everybody, if you didn't know by now. Keep the broom by the door. If it falls down, unexpected happenings are coming. So again, that if you think about it, I always
heard that meant company was coming.
Oh, okay.
But I never heard unexpected happenings. I always heard company is coming.
Right.
If the broom falls, somebody's going to come knocking at the door.
Ah, okay. Wow. All right. I know this. When my dad was really out of it towards the end of his life, he was causing us so much grief, and he lived right next door. And Gillian, that's when we really started making sure every entry, every place he would knock on, and we did start putting in windows because he would come up and start looking at our windows. We put the black tourmaline in it. And what we would do is I could always see him coming up the walk. We stopped answering the door.
Right.
But what was really interesting, once we put the black tourmaline in its place, I mean, two big pieces of each, he would actually get up to the doorway, and you could see him kind of lose his train of thought and turn around and go home.
I got to tell you, yeah, I gritted in one of the places I worked with some not so nice people, like the group of people that I worked with. So I gritted my cubicle with black tourmaline and selenite, and they wouldn't cross where the
I remember when that happened.
They wouldn't cross where the grid lines, they wouldn't cross over into my space. They'd stand outside of it and talk to me, but they would not cross where the grid lines were.
Yeah.
I believe that,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the key thing, folks, here is where you put your energy. What do you truly believe? And this is one of the reasons I'm always telling people, know what you believe and know why you believe it. Because if you just say, well, I believe it, all right, it can still carry some power. But if you know why you believe it, okay, why I'm putting the nail in this way, why I'm putting the screw in like this, why this portion of the recipe has to be done this way. It gives it more power. It gives it more authenticity, and it gives you more power. You know, Cynthia brought up another good one. Put a bay leaf in your wallet for prosperity. And there are a lot of spells for abundance and things like that.
Yeah.
That I did in abundance.
Burning bay leaves, right? Yeah.
Dressing your candle in it, things like that, or whatnot. So, you know, and I'll be quite honest with you, I want to say thank you. Cynthia has helped me a lot with some of those, knowing I was getting started in some of that or whatnot. And just good to have. So if anybody's ever got any questions or whatnot, go to Tarot with an Attitude. Go to the group, all right? Join up there, all right? But then you can join the page and drop your question in both spots. Somebody will answer it, okay? It is one of those things. It's great to have and a great place for community. So, I mean, I think that's very, very important. You know, one of the things, and we were talking about this one, the Friday the 13th thing, okay, was one that really, really kind of shocked me when you dive into it. That prior to Christianity, Friday the 13th was not a bad thing.
Well, the number 13 was a sacred, I don't want to say holy, but prior to Christianity, the number 13 was sort of sacred. It wasn't a bad number.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and there were a couple of things here, and you mentioned about what was it, Loki or whatnot?
Loki, yeah, being the 13th guest at a banquet that ended in chaos. So.
Okay. And what I find funny is on top of that, where the Christians have come in with this, is Judas was considered the 13th disciple.
Right.
So that's where a lot of that 13 stuff comes in. But the crucifixion, you know, was on a Friday. If you're actually going by the calendar now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you know, rose again, third day, you know, I honestly don't know that is, do we know that that's the exact day that happened? The weeks have changed. The weekends have changed. All that's become so convoluted.
Well,
all right.
Reconfigured, like some emperors or whatever reconfigured the whole calendar. So
correct.
Yeah.
But here's another key thing I did not know till I got to looking into it and finding out. The Knights Templar, who were actually crusading for Christianity and killed a lot of people in the name of the Crusades and everything else, something happened with King Philip IV, okay? And he needed the same knights to now go away, okay? So it was on a Friday the 13th, and there's an actual date that I've got down below. I'm not going to go through it. But it was a Friday the 13th that he made his false declaration that Knights Templar were devil worshippers, things like this. And they started being assassinated and killed right away, is all associated with Friday the 13th. You know, so I was like, wow, that goes a little deeper than I ever imagined it would.
I didn't realize it was a Friday the 13th. I thought that he was having them picked off because they were amassing too much fortune.
They were, and he wanted their fortune.
Yeah.
But he did that. Let me see where it's at here.
And I'm sort of cracking up while you're talking about this, because also, as you're talking about this, I have two things running through my head. One is Monty Python, The Quest for the Holy Grail. And all I can think of is the Knights Who Say Neat. We are the Knights Who Say Neat. And then the other thing is Star Wars, where they go into the Jedi Temple and start taking out all the Jedis, where Anakin goes in and just wipes out all the Jedis. Yeah. So anyway, a glimpse into Bridget's brain. Sorry, guys,
Right.
because I'm here kind of laughing while you're talking about it. People are probably like, "She's nuts. Why is she laughing?"
Yeah. And so what this was Friday, October 13th, 13 and 7. Okay. Goes back that far, and it was already a bad thing. Okay. King Philip IV of France ordered the mass arrest of the Knights Templar. They were accused of heresy, idolatry, and devil worship, largely fabricated so he could seize their wealth and dissolve their power. And that's where it just continued Friday the 13th. You know, over centuries, the fall of the Templars combined with Christian distrust of Friday and the number 13, which I never understood. If the Christians were all upset about 13th, you know, you're telling me this had to happen. You know, that's the day Christ was crucified or whatnot, and died on the cross. I don't understand why you're seeing that as a bad thing, because according to Christianity, that's what had to happen for everybody to be,
Right.
you know, the S word, saved. All right. But
well, the other interesting thing about the number 13 is before the calendars were reconfigured, there were 13 astrological signs.
correct.
13 months. There were, you know what I mean? So very interesting.
And you know, it's funny, wasn't it 2012 the Aztec calendar ran out right before 2013?
Right.
And the world's going to come to an end and everything else. And how many people, you know, even the superstition of Y2K, which there was no superstition. Y2K was real. But I finally did some digging to find out what was the big deal. And it was actually like a 12 or 13-year-old kid that discovered the Y2K problem was everybody's clocks were not programmed to go that when everything hit the zeros, it was easily fixed. They corrected it, you know. But man, how many people went into hiding and everything else over, you know, rain all blew in, folks, you know.
Bunkers under their house. And
yeah. So 2012, the Aztec calendar, you know. And what was this most recent thing?
The rapture.
The rapture.
But I want you to understand that the newest take on the rapture now is it's they got the date wrong. It's October 6th now.
Okay. But here's what's ironic.
Okay.
Now, my background coming in here, okay? The Bible says, no man knoweth the date or the hour. So the minute somebody's going, I know it, guess what? Party hard that day, bro, because it ain't happening. You know, it's not happening. And
isn't the whole point of the rapture like it? So I am not religious the way you are. I mean, I know the base of the rapture, and I'm not educated religiously the way you are. Let me clarify what I mean. But the whole point of the rapture is to take people by surprise, right? It's not. I mean, if you know when it's coming, then you know to start making amends and repent and do all that stuff. So the point of the rapture is to cull out the good from the bad at the very base level, right? So the point of the rapture is to take everybody who has lived a good life and bring them up into heaven and leave all of us reprobates down here on earth, you know, to eat each other for dinner or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever's going to happen.
Yeah, I always tell people, and it's the only I can do and piss people off, you know, is this ain't the 12-step program. Christianity is not a 12-step program. And when you complete step 12, you're good, you know.
You're going to heaven.
And you hit the nail right on the head. Nobody knows. So prepare now, you know. It even says it comes as a thief in the night. You know, these are things. And I'm just telling you what I know of what the Bible says. Okay. Right. So that's what, when I hear a Christian saying, this is the day. Okay. October 6th is now the new date. You're saying that's what they're saying?
That's that's the chatter on social networking. So
Okay.
I don't
All
know,
right.
if that's a reality, but that's the newest chatter that I've come across.
So wow. Okay. So Gillian also put she keeps 7 grains of rice in her wallet.
Right.
Babe, let us know what that does. Why the 7? Is the number specific? And is it something about the rice? I would like to know that one. And then why ain't there any rice in my wallet? So
rice is a symbol of prosperity. It's when you do a lot of prosperity and abundance spell work.
Yeah.
Oftentimes rice is incorporated in it.
Oh, that's true. Throwing rice at a wedding.
Because it's so abundant and it's so that's why. As far as the reason why you would put why 7 grains, I don't know.
Yeah, I do not know either. So she'll post it and let us know. But that's interesting. Has anybody got any more? I love having these talks while we're doing that, because there's a bunch more we can even here. Knocking over a broom means company is coming. African American folklore pass through hoodoo traditions. There's that one that
jumping the broom, right? When they get married, they jump the broom.
Correct. Now here's the this one has always cracked me up. Carrying a rabbit's foot, brings luck.
That is
and I got to go with the old, didn't work too well for the rabbit. Yeah.
Just the whole act of carrying a limb kind of grosses me out. I don't know. I never liked rabbit's feet. It always creeped me out.
Yeah. Why do you especially when some of them you can still feel their little nails up in there and everything. Yeah.
Why do you want to carry around like a disembodied limb? That's disgusting.
Well, one of the things is it said that Celtic tribes back, again, prior to Christianity, things like that, rabbits were associated with fertility and the earth. So when they killed rabbits to eat, it was a way to honor that rabbit and a way to honor the earth. So I got that, okay? But I'm not walking around with a cow hoof, because I had a snake.
Well, can I cut your arm off and walk around with it?
Only if you're going to eat me.
It's interesting that your origin story says that, because my origin story says that the reasons why they did it was that because the rabbits burrowed underground, and that was closer to the underworld, which kept them in touch with the spirits, and the rabbit's foot was to grant magical protection.
Ah, okay. So see, even there. So I'm glad we do our own independent research.
Right.
And it shows people some of these things you've got to know what's going on and what you're going to take and where you're at. Superstitions are just that. There's no actual scientific evidence proving any of them is correct. And people say, well, we can have 100 people walk under a ladder. And then we follow those people and say, what happened? Well, but then you've got, and if you know anything about statistics or doing analytical research, then you got to do that again. Then you got to do the whole thing again. Then you got to do the whole thing again to see, okay, 15 times, 33 people got hit by a bus, that walked under a ladder, and to make the data stand out. So superstitions are just that. And they come from all places. My grandmother taught me that if a pregnant woman in Georgia at that time got scared, was all of a sudden very startled, they would lift up their shirts and like wipe under their boobs, because there was the old wives' tale that's where birthmarks
you touched yourself would create a birthmark.
Yeah. And so they would intentionally touch themselves in places so the birthmark would not be visible to everybody else. So, all of these things come from somewhere. And, I talked at the beginning about, different tarot ones. Yeah. And there are some really neat tarot ones that I know you've heard them. you know. Let me see. I'm going to get back over here to my tarot ones. Okay. I've talked about this before. Superstitions in tarot. Somebody's got to give you your first deck. You know?
No.
Like I've said all along, I was a Baptist preacher's kid. What? No, you were the closest person that would have ever possibly given me a deck, okay, of tarot cards. But you and I at that point didn't know how much I was in doing this or whatnot. I bought my first deck. You were with me.
Yep.
Bruce was there. Gillian was there, you know, and things like that. So you do not have to be gifted your first deck. That's one of those things, you know, and I do think that tarot and some spirituality has actually become almost like a religion. People are wanting to say, if you don't do it my way, you're wrong.
Right.
And the whole purpose of this is for us to understand the spirituality in the tarot is something that you can do. You don't have to summon dark spirits and everything else, but it's the individual thing. It's what you and who you talk to, what you talk to.
Right. I too bought my own first deck. I was 14. I bought it at the Walden Books in the Wilkes-Barre Mall in Pennsylvania.
Wow. I bought it. That one was in the Daytona Beach at that one little shop. And it was this deck right here, my Sun and Moon Tarot.
Was it in Daytona? I don't know why I thought we were at Island Crystal, but
no, it was Daytona Beach back then. We're either going to or coming from
Charlie
Horse crabs.
All you can eat crabs.
Yeah. So and I don't know if they ever recouped from me and Mr. Bruce having them at the same day or whatnot, but man, we put a hurting on them. You know, there's so many of these things that are neat. It's kind of funny or whatnot, but
some of the other tarot ones that I can think of, you don't let other people touch your deck.
That's the second one. Never let anyone else, you know, touch your deck, your card.
I'm like, no.
And that is where some believe, and you know what? If you believe that, then don't allow somebody to touch your cards if you really feel that. But I do believe when I let somebody touch my cards, you know, or whatnot, I just cleanse them.
Yeah, that's what I do. Especially if I feel a little icky, you know, about them. But.
And if I've picked up a deck from like a mass-produced Amazon, you know, I like Barnes and Noble, some of those places, things like that. They have an off-the-wall choice sometimes of decks you don't see anywhere else.
Look, I haven't used this deck in a year. It's my Halloween deck. It's a specialty deck. When I pulled it out of the box today, before the show, I lit sage. I'm cleansing my deck. I've got incense going. I'm spraying protection spray on it. I haven't used it in a year. It hasn't left my house. It hasn't left my office. Nobody's come in here and touched it, but I cleansed it anyway. It's been sitting for a little while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just good deck hygiene, you know?
Yeah. And one of the things you should always be doing anyways, when you unwrap it, you don't know who handled it. You don't know who had touched it in the office or anything like. You should always cleanse your deck. You know, that's one of those things, just period. But it does. That's, again, a personal insight of what you feel if somebody should be handling your stuff, you know?
And people cleanse their decks differently. Some people run them through sage smoke. Some people knock on them, and they think that that's cleansing the energy out of them.
I used to. I had a habit. I don't know why, and I kind of got out of it. I think the show got me out of it for saving some time. I would always shuffle my deck or right before and give it, you know, 2 knocks or 3. I can't remember what I used to do, and I don't do that anymore, and I don't know why. I think I did it before I would shuffle. If I remember right, I would knock and then cut, or cut and knock. I can't remember. But again, it just became a habit.
Right.
You know, or whatnot. So, you know, other things about tarot, reverse cards are always bad luck. No. Well, you know what? No, it's not. Okay.
Because upright cards, not all the upright cards are good luck.
last time I checked, the Three of Swords talking about mental and heart anguish was not the most pleasant.
How about the Ten of Swords? That guy's dead. He's laying down dead on the floor. He is dead.
Yeah. Whoever did that,
sticking out of his back.
Whoever did that, you need to have them in your freezer. Okay. You need to
put that guy in your freezer.
Yeah. That's one of those crazy things. And there's Gillian's thing about the salt. 7 is seen as lucky. Rice as prosperity. Together, 7 grains symbolize multiplied blessings, often used in pouches or corners as charms for protection and wealth. Thank you, baby doll. Appreciate it. That is, there's so much going on there that we don't, money bowls use rice as the base. I don't know 7 either, but there we go. So you can always tie something back and see what's going on. One of the things that I talk about in my book that you can get down there, Learn to Read Tarot in a Day, Tarot Simplified, is reverse. Y'all notice on here, very seldom do I read in reverse when I'm doing these cards, on the show. Because number one, they're upside down on camera. It can get really loopy for me and be like, just a visual mess. All right. But I do believe if spirit can speak to me, they can speak to me with all of these, things that's there, and I can see it. If I believed that tarot reading reversals every time a reversal came up was bad luck, I'd never touch a deck again. Okay. Because you've seen me when I've gone to read reversals, I'll deal 10 cards and 8 of those son of a guns are freaking upside down. It's just, especially when I'm reading for myself, which leads me to one of the things I read. And I think this came from Biddy Tarot, where a lot of people will believe now that reversals are literally telling you this is about you. Internalize it. It's the same meaning of the card, but it's pointed at you instead of pointing at people or the environment or something like that.
That's an interesting take. So you, as the reader, like, oh, hey, you're reading for somebody else, but this is popping up for you to do. So I'm reading.
For them, it would be, but
okay.
Yeah, it would be like, now this is not, your mother-in-law. This is not the boyfriend or the girlfriend.
Gotcha.
This is you to take it to heart. You have to take a look.
I always felt like they were it was just an emphasis on the standard message. If it came up in reverse, it was just, okay, you need to pay better attention to this,
right.
Because you and I understand that major arcanas are like, this is happening. This is stuff that is important and happening. The minors sort of exist in free will. So to I don't think I'm articulating it correctly, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So
again, it's that intention of you letting spirit know, I'm going to read reversals, but here's my intentions. Or when the reversal comes, where's your gut? What is your intuition telling you that card means? Some people will say that it always means, like, the tower reversed would mean, the tower always is change, big change coming. Reverse is saying there ain't no change coming.
Right, stagnation, right?
Or they're saying it's a blocked energy. It's always change, but there's something about it being reversed is saying you're blocking the change that needs to happen. So, and I talk about those 3 different versions, but you're right. And I know several people. We know who's the young man, the pet psychic that we both know. We've all gotten read. Yes. Okay. He doesn't read reverses at all.
Right.
And it's just, I don't need it to convolute it. I can get the message, and he has a firm belief in what he gets. So I think that's very, very important, So
I very rarely read reversals. You'll notice when I'm like, if you're ever in front of me and I'm doing a reading, you'll notice most of my cards are always pretty much upright.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where, Game on. Geek game on. Order 66. That's just crazy. So drawing parallels and things like that. So let me see. I tell my deck I am not reading reversals if they come up. I do that, because I've got one of my decks, the something dreams. I forget what it is. Very popular deck. And I can't shuffle it like where y'all see me shuffle with the corners coming together so they don't get mixed up. That deck is not capable of being shuffled that way, so I have to shuffle it regular. And I am constantly flipping one of those things around. So I will tell my deck, I will say things up front, and you need to come to that understanding for my new tarot readers that set these intentions up front. You can have them all mixed up, but if you're going to set the intentions up front, I'm not reading reversals. When it comes up reversed, look that sucker over and move on.
Yeah. Well, one of my big things is when I shuffle, I constantly riffle the cards as I'm doing a reading, constant. And when they fall out, typically that's what I read. One comes shooting out, that's your card. One comes shooting out. And often I'll get like a chunk of them. And sometimes it's just too many. So I'll have to put them back in and say to the deck, look, that's too many. Yeah. I just need one or two or three. You know what I mean? Like I'm not looking for a stack like this to lay out across the table.
Yeah, I'm not looking for the Bible here.
Right. Yeah. Just can I get
I'm on my coffee break.
The Cliff Notes version, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
But interesting with that though is then as I'm doing the reading and I'm flipping and I'm clarifying and I'm trying to see, okay, what else is coming up. Often a lot of those cards that flew out will show back up.
Yeah. Well, and you see me doing here, I will purposefully pick these cards up and I take a minute to separate them in the deck, to make sure they're going back. Because when I shuffle, and then if they're coming up again, I know that spirit saying this card is to be here and not I had 5 cards stuck together.
Right.
Especially when I see them back to back. Monday night, I forget what card it was. It kept coming up over and over and over. So it became like a theme of a reading for the group, for everybody. It was like an energy we needed to look at. It was like the first 3 or 4 people got the same last card. And I didn't understand what that was about, But,
definitely a message for your collective, right?
Yeah.
When that happens and you keep pulling the same card over and over, it's definitely a stop and let's do a reading for the collective because this is addressing all of you now.
Yeah. And sometimes, and I will say this, I do feel like this. I know there are some people that are a little upset at me. I've told people I'm not reading that for you anymore. We're done, asked and answered. And I feel like spirit gets irritated.
Yeah, I was going to say
searching for an answer, especially around relationships.
I think spirit gets pissed off getting asked the same question over it. Look, how many times do I have to answer the question? Every time I'm doing the same answer. So now the onus is on you. What are you going to do with the information that I'm giving you? Because 5 times now, I have given you the same answer through 5 different cards, let's just say. Right. So now, it's the same message, maybe worded slightly different or whatever, but ultimately it's the same exact message. So then eventually, spirit gets pissed off. I have to, if I'm practicing tarot and I'm not reading for anybody in particular, I'm just flipping cards, trying to hone my game, right? I have to say, all right, I'm just practicing. So let's practice. And I'll flip. I'll ask and flip. And I'm, give me different scenarios, give me different ways to interpret, give me different readings based on this question.
Yeah.
Because, you don't want to tick spirit off and then be like, look, what is going on? right? Like,
Right.
why do you keep asking? Asked and answered. Eventually, my cards will stop flowing.
Yes. And there are times where I've had to really fight, and spirits like telling me, we're telling you we don't want to use this deck.
Right.
Go look at another deck. Or B, I'm not in the mental space to do this right now. And I've literally had to say, okay, lately I've been very frenetic. I've been all over the place, too much shit going on and everything else. And what I'll do is sit down with the deck and do practice readings or just start flipping cards. I'll, go through a spread, just say, okay, I got to get back in my groove. And a lot of times that's how I wind up grabbing a deck, because I'm like, I can't make this work anymore. I don't know, spirit's pissed at me or what. And I stop, I go get a different deck.
Yep.
And then I start again. Then all of a sudden I'm glued to that deck, So it's crazy,
It happens to me too, though. Eventually I won't be able, because you've seen me do a reading. So when I shuffle, the cards go flinging everywhere. If I'm shuffling, riffling, and no cards are coming out, I need to swap that deck out. This is not the right deck for this reading.
Right. And remember we talked about that one time. For you, cards coming out is kind of your direction,
Right.
Where I grew up playing poker, Baptist preacher's kid, whatever, and shuffling is very therapeutic to me. So I would sit there and shuffle. Very seldom do I spray unless I'm using a very odd sized deck or something like that. So I don't really weigh that out. But when I'm using one of my regular decks and something does pop out and I was paying attention, I pay very close attention to that card.
Right, to those jumpers.
Yeah, and here we go. Leaving shoes upside down in Turkey and some Latin cultures, it's a call for misfortune or even the devil. Leaving your shoes upside down. So, where do these come from? I'm sure if we started researching that, we would find, where do the stockings come from? In Christmas, hanging the stockings. Well,
come on,
Saint
didn't
Nick,
you watch the show?
What's that?
Didn't you watch the show? The Burgermeister Meisterburger took all the kids' toys away. And Santa had to find how to get the toys to the kids. He put them in the stockings.
And I read too that literally Saint Nick, the Saint Nick Claus, wherever this started, it was Germanic or whatnot, was a rich person and would literally go around, and on certain night, the Christmas Eve, kids would leave their shoes and stockings out, and he would drop a coin in their stockings or whatnot. So,
funny enough, my grandma would put an orange in the toe of our stocking.
I've heard that. Never had it done.
And I never really understood why.
Mine was always underwear. And I'm like, what the hell?
But that's why, because of St. Nicholas. Because he would come, he would leave the coin and he would give you fruit and nuts, because back in the day, those were you were wealthy. If you had those things, that was a treat. That was something
right.
that was an indicator of wealth. So I never knew that. So I would get nuts and an orange in my stocking every year. And I never understood, I always just, that's grandma. She puts an orange in your stocking.
Yeah.
But okay. I was in my 30s before somebody explained to me why I got an orange in my stocking every year.
Ah, okay. We miss you too, Mainly Mystics. Get in here.
Mainly Mystics.
We miss you both. So yeah, Toys and Tarot. Hello from Salem. So got some stuff working in Salem and going to be back over at Off Cabin again. So got some things working. I'm hoping we're going to find out here this week about being in a special event in Salem. We'll find out.
Oh, nice.
Right. Yeah. And in some areas, owls or crows on your roof is impending death. That was in the book, Mrs. Mike, Eskimo Culture or whatnot. One of the things like black cats, it started with cats, and black cats just got associated with witchcraft through folklore and everything else. But it is because there are certain ravens, crows, these certain creatures are able to pass between the spirit worlds, so people took that very, very seriously, and it's something we have to take a look at. And I got to tell a funny story on this one. When I was in police work, okay, I had a sergeant whose wife was Cuban. He's from Key West, was very much grew up with the voodoo, hoodoo, and all that stuff. He was very superstitious. All right. And some nights he'd feel like creepy, so he'd ride with me. He'd get in my car and ride with me, and we're on patrol. And if a black cat cut across the road, I had to slam on brakes, turn around, and go find another direction. And I'm like, dude. He's like, no. I'm like, we're both armed. And at that point, I was 6 foot. We're both 6 foot and over 200 pounds. I think we got whatever's coming at us. He said, be careful what you wish for. And then he'd get out of my car and go right in something else's, because, and then we would see, me and him together had seen some very creepy stuff.
Florida stuff. Swamp apes and Yetis and Florida man. Yeah, I have seen, from Levy County and being up there where there's actual missile base, things like that. I have seen some very weird stuff that people didn't. Oh, it's swamp gas. I've seen swamp gas. Okay, I know swamp gas. This ain't swamp gas when that shit's moving in the points of light, things like that, and it's down here at this level and it's jumping. Yeah, no, that ain't it. So we can get things started or whatnot. Cynthia, as a witch, owls, crows are messengers. A crow told me to get off my ass one time. I was in a funk. Believe me, I listened. You know what? This is some of those things. And, that I had an old crow tell me that too. And then I quit that job. It's one of those things. I divorced her. Sorry.
I got to be me. Let's see what's happening, But yeah, no, I hear you. And it's very, it's very, very, there's real to it. When you look at the cats with Pharaoh and things like that, the movie Constantine related to it as with cats being able to help him move between heaven and earth and hell and earth and things like that, So let's see what's going on. Yes. October 26th. Yes, that's when I will be there. So I'd love to see you guys again. Okay. So thank you very much. We are too. So I wish Bruce and Bridget could get back up. We had a good time. We had a great.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Maybe when it's summer again.
Yeah. Well, it might be reversed for next summer. Okay. So we're finding out, let's see what's going on. That's the day before David's birthday. What an awesome way to end a trip around the sun. We will have to get our tickets. Absolutely. I tell you what, call me. Okay. Let's talk. Let's see what's going on. All right. And see what's saying. He's turning 24. Wow. Okay. Let's find out. All right. My Scorpio brother. Yes. Scorpio. Gillian the Scorpio. Yes, we did have a good time. I'm glad we had us and Gary,
Who's Gary?
Who's Gary? Yeah. Supposedly this week, the tape of that show is actually coming, and I hope that part's on it. And I never pop up, but I got done doing our protection. I'm like, who the hell is Gary? And it was Gary. Their father or brother or something,
like a grandfather or something,
right there. Yeah. So it was great. Let's see what we got. Are you an October or November Scorpio? Good evening, Yadi. Let's see what's happening. Gillian is an October
Scorpio. Yeah.
All right. We'll see what's happening here. So we are coming down to the end of this. Have you got anything else you wanted to talk about? Believe it or not, it's been an hour. We've done it again.
Yeah. As far as superstitions go, no, not really. No. Just want to put out there that, I'm on social media. I've got my website. Brigitte at eyesofthedragonfly.com. I do tarot. I've been certified in quantum healing, Rob. So if you're looking for some good healing, you know, I can meet you on the quantum realm and we can talk about what may or may not be good for you. A couple of people in the room have experienced that.
Yep. Now, I was just going to say I've seen that firsthand. We've worked together, not at the same time, but when they come to you, you point me in the direction we need to go with other stuff. And it was really interesting. And that was great.
It was very interesting. I even kind of surprised myself with the quantum healing. You know, because I was expecting it to be more like Reiki, and it was more, it was really more fine-tuned than that. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So I don't have permission to throw out names, but people in this group have had it, and if you know you need to talk to somebody for a referral, I could reach out to them and have them contact you if you want.
But seriously, reach out. And one of the things to remember, when I will do certain readings for myself. My wife will do certain readings. I'll ask my wife. But if we're too close, I will get Brigitte to do a reading for me. Okay. And this is something to remember. There's nothing wrong with having somebody else, a third party, kind of like a counselor, a therapist, or whatnot, who's not emotionally tied to the outcome of what's going on with you. That's not afraid to give you like, hey, you screwed up, you know, they don't want to offend you or, upset you. And it's one of those things. So Brigitte is my go-to person for readings. I've done readings for Brigitte.
Yep.
So we trust each other in this. We do them together. And
healings for each other. Definitely. And I mean, I don't know, Rob. I mean, we've worked together. You've counseled and I've moved the energy through the quantum healing. So, you know, we can tag team something if that's what somebody's interested in.
Absolutely. So just drop Brigitte an email. There's a way to contact me in there. I'm at tarot with an attitude. That's easy to remember at gmail.com. And if you want us to work something out where you're dealing with both Brigitte and myself, we will be glad. We'll figure it out. Okay. And it's not break the bank either. Okay. We are very reasonable. We do what we do. And, you know, we work with people. We enjoy what we do.
Right.
So, you know, that's part of it, you know. And let's see what's going on. You know, I'm always unprepared. You know, she did a little candle ritual to welcome October. Yes, she did. And she was on Facebook with it too. So, you know, let's see what's going on. So all three have done work for me. They are legit. Oh, thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you, Cynthia.
All three have done work for me. That includes Gillian. Gillian does crystal healing. I do sound healing. We all three do Reiki. Brigitte does the quantum healing, different things. And we will either work together or we let one person do their thing and point the other person in direction, particularly when Reiki's involved, you know. And we've had with the three of us and other people that are in the room, some that are not here, you know, we've had some pretty interesting, you know, Reiki sessions where it was felt, known it was felt, things like that. And I do a lot of Reiki on the show. I just don't do it like everybody advertises. Okay.
Right.
So, you know, and we've had people say like, wow, you know, that's what's going on.
Well, I did that Reiki for you that one time and you were like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
I didn't even tell you that I did it. I told Gillian that I did it, but I didn't tell you that I did it.
Yeah. No, you didn't. You didn't.
But
but I appreciate it. And you always know there are certain people, we will never do Reiki on somebody. If you tell us there's a problem or something, we will not do Reiki. Okay. I might say a prayer, but we will not do Reiki on you until you physically give us permission.
I am definitely not stepping into your energy field without you giving me permission.
Right.
First of all, I don't know who you are. and what you carry. And second of all,
Yeah.
what I'm stepping into, that's the first protection.
Yeah.
And
Have you
second
got
of all,
somebody in your freezer?
right.
You know?
Second of all, I don't, it's unethical for me. It's just unethical for me to cross a boundary that is very personal and private without somebody saying it's okay. You had previously asked me a few days before if I would do some for you. So I just did it, but I was unable to reach out to you.
Yeah. And that's where some of this too, when we're working together, there were times like if Brigitte was talking to somebody, she would give me very minimal information, just enough to point me in the right direction. Okay. And Cynthia said, Brigitte moved pain from my head all the way out of my feet. Took a while, but it worked great. And let me tell y'all something. I got something coming up. I've been trying a product now for over a month. And let me tell you something. I'm going to be sharing this with everybody because after being on that train and my knees were so bad, and then I tripped coming out of the car that brought us home and torqued my knee. And I had a big bulge in my knee, things like that. I stumbled around on it for a day and a half. The next day, I'm like, wait a minute. I put my patch on my neck. You've seen the patch on the back of my neck.
Mm-hmm.
But I put it underneath my knee as well, a second patch. And let me tell you something, within 4 hours, my limp was gone. I was walking great.
That's interesting.
And then today it was hurting up in the front. Like you get that pain right below the kneecap. I slapped another sucker on there. And man, let me tell you something. Within 2 hours, I was walking without problem, going up and down my steps and everything else. So I got to share this with everybody.
My knees are killing me.
Okay. I'll get you some so you can try it and see what's going on. There's it's homeopathic. It's phototherapy. There's nothing that you're absorbing.
I'm not going to fail a drug test.
You're not going to fail a drug test. It's literally a thing where you're radiating light into certain crystals that have been developed that radiates it back into your body and uses light healing energy to restore stem cells and things like that.
And I put one like right here so I can get my head right.
Yeah.
Just right in the middle of my forehead.
Yeah. So, so I didn't mean to go off on a little thing. Tell you what, lifewave.com/RevRob. Okay. Lifewave.com/RevRob. I did not put it there. Go look at it. Start checking it out. Things like that. All the information is there. But we're going to put together a whole thing. And I've got people who actually developed it and are working with it that have agreed to come on and do an actual show so we can help.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Cool. They're going to explain it in more detail and everything that I can't do. Okay. But when I started reading that it was light energy, I was like, man, that's up my alley. There we go. And sure as the world, it's really done wonders for me. All right. So, and I think Gillian will tell her own story, what do we got? I'm interested for my lower back. Hey, let me tell you. So let's talk. I'll show you about it. Check it out. Go to that lifewave.com/RevRob. Read up on it. Do some things. So many different things we can do or whatnot. There's a whole bunch of different products. Just focus on, you don't need all those other products. This is the main one. X39. You see, I keep patches right here. You wear it 12 hours a day and you take them off for 12 hours. The next day, 12 hours again, and it's just a constant. So you'll hear me say from now on,
how many can you wear at the same time?
Up to 3. I wear one at the base of my neck and the top of my spine. That's the main one. Okay. But then you can put up to 2 others on different places. So like if you've got 2 bad knees, slap them in the pain points on your knees. 12 hours, pull them off. And I'm telling you, I had no idea how I just can't rave. When you're hurting, you're hurting. Okay. Right. And I know this when I went through this last thing with people don't understand. A lot of people don't know the wound that I got on my back. Okay. When I started wearing it, my healing just was like coming.
That's what you said. It was
coming crazy. Yeah. And they initially had me cancel all the trips, cancel the cruise, What they never thought I was going to be healed in the time that I got healed. And this actually healed up a wound with pictures that I can't show everybody because it's disgusting. But it is. Let me tell you something. I won't be without it. And it's one of those things. So let's see what's going on. Yeah, sciatic, things like that. Slap that thing in that butt cheek or just left of the back, things like that. But this is the one up here. It's like the activator. You either put it up here or you put it down below your belly button, okay, on the front, whatever's more comfortable for you. And then you could take 2 more and put out to the side, okay? Right. Put on your shoulders, things like that or whatnot. So that is something. Sorry, I didn't mean to digress, but I'm excited because I want people to know what's happened to me over the past couple of days with my knees. It's just been amazing.
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
Right. Yep. Those patches are amazing. Yes, Donna, they are. X39. If you know anything about it, let it know and we'll be able to talk about it. Post website. I have no memory. There we go. All right. I will put it out on my Facebook page. All right. And y'all can click it there. Here, let me see if I can't do it right here. Lifewave.com. Lifewave.com, there we go, /Rev Rob. There it is. Okay. So I posted it. I don't know where. There it is. Lifewave.com /Rev Rob. And it's right there. And I'm going to be starting to put it up. So I've let a couple people know I'm testing things or whatnot because I don't want to put something up just because somebody said this works great. I want to be able to give a testimonial that I felt this work. Okay. And I like the idea, like you said, I can give it to anybody and I don't have to worry about them passing a drug test. It's homeopathic. It's everything there.
Nice.
So, let's see what goes. Okay. So, see what happens. You are welcome. Glad everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you for putting up with me. All right.
Maybe that's a show for us. Some homeopathic, because I'm getting into like looking up like how to make like fire cider and fire honey and stuff like that to naturally combat colds for the winter or inflammation, stuff like that, rheumatoid arthritis, that sort of thing.
So let's take a look next week, and maybe we should have our cauldrons come out, and do a little brewing or something, and let's figure out
what's next Wednesday? Is that the 6th or the 7th?
Hold on, I will tell you. It is the 8th.
Okay, because the full moon is on the 6th, right? The 6th or the 7th. Well,
that's a Gillian. I have not checked. I will, but yes, you are. It's coming up. And that's probably why the rapture is going to happen on the 6th, because of the full moon.
Because I was going to say we could do some full moon cauldron.
Yeah. Either way, we'll take a look and do that, whatever. If it's the full moon, if it's on the other side of the full moon, if it's holistic or whatnot, let's do it. But we'll do everything. Again, we're going to stay in the spirit of Halloween. I love Halloween. I love the fact the fall. You would have died here today when we got up. It was 42 degrees.
No, that's not fall.
But it's just been beautiful. Now in the next couple of days, going back up into the 80s. Stay down. I'm ready for it to stay down. But Brigitte, all the leaves in that backyard you see, everything's starting to change color.
Yeah.
Next couple of days, take you a picture. Yeah. And I'll send it to you. And we'll
a picture with the baby deer. But 40 degrees is ridiculous. I was excited because it was 80 degrees out this morning. And I was like, oh, what a nice, pleasant 80, it's kind of cool out today.
Yeah. Full moon is on the 7th. Okay. So, so Christ is coming back in the dark. Or at 3/4 moon. Doesn't want everybody to see him. And he knows for everybody that's like going, Rob, that's sacrilegious. He knows I'm from the bottom of my heart. Okay. Because I believe he had a sense of humor.
He's got to be able to hide behind the shrubs.
Yeah.
That's just
Oh, wow. Great conversation this evening. It was fun and interesting. Deborah, I'm glad you liked it. Thank you. Everybody, this has been great. So, Miss Brigitte, y'all can reach Miss Brigitte at eyesofthedragonfly.com. You can reach me at tarotwithanattitude@gmail.com. All the links are in the description below. Okay. Click on it, find out. Okay. And I got to get with Bruce and him to show me that new link thing he's got, because I want to use Bruce's link instead of Linktree. Bruce has developed his own link system or whatnot. So I got to get with him and have him show me how to set it up.
Is that for online, or is that like a dash card?
Well, he's got the dot cards, but this is online where you can actually, So I want to set that up.
I'm lucky that I can press play and record. All that stuff is too techy for me.
I hear you. That's why I got to call him. Hey, talk me through this so I can get your stuff up. I will be howling with this full moon. Maybe that's what we need to do, is a howl at the moon night, and see what's happening. So it's the 8th. Well, what is the 8th? When we look at that, 10, 8, 18, and 9 is 27. So when you bring out everything comes together for 9 again, man, that's going to be a great day to manifest.
Yep.
So, let's see what's happening.
Maybe we have to talk offline, because maybe like one of our shows should be about like werewolves and vampires and mummies, oh my, and stuff
I'm
like
all
that.
in. I'm all in, because again, just like superstitions, they all have their basis in folklore, and some.
You know me, I'm all about vampires, man. I am.
Oh yeah.
I
love them.
Damon Salvatore to the end. I am all about vampires. My car's name is Klaus. If anybody watched the originals, they understand why my car's name is Klaus.
Yes. There we go. Oh. Very good. All right, everybody. We hope you had a good time. If nothing else, take what you want, leave what you don't. But like we said, when I say leave what you don't leave your garbage here. Take it with you and throw it away somewhere else. Okay. But just if there's something we said, you don't have to accept everything we say. We understand it. No hard feelings. Take what you want, leave what you don't. But leave having experienced some peace, love, and light, and a little bit of fun and some knowledge. All right.
All right.
So good night, everybody, and bang around.